Was this betrayal weighed on me more than I was expecting, as I divided my time as I sought to translate Gallus's journal. I found myself in Winterhold, an unimpressive name for a few buildings at the entrance of the College of Mages. My injuries still required tending, so my logic, in those days, was to see if I could learn some restoration spells at the college. I had learned a bit of magic since coming to Skyrim, not something I necessarily excelled at, but enough to interest those at the college who decided to allow me to enroll. My dark brother, Festus, had talked up the power of destruction magic as means of assassination. I found it created, but, at the time, I figured nothing was better than a poison arrow or a blade. One thing I could say about the College of Mages, unlike the rest of Skyrim, they were a diverse body who cared little for one's race, heritage, or origin. I supped with several of them, after my initial tour, and told them that I was product of a boss-mare mother and a dun-mare father. The response was a mixture of indifference or simple academic curiosity. A few questioned how I felt about the Aldmari Dominion and the Empire. The Thalmor had a detachment at the college, so I knew to play my cards close to my chest. I feigned an indifference to politics which wasn't false, mostly. However, my fame and infamy were my constant companions. Most weren't sure the part I would play in the grand scheme, but none questioned the notion that my part would be great. I was put under the tutelage of Tolfer, a Nord so ancient he was practically an elf, and despite his cautious nature I was told he was one of the most powerful wizards in all of Tamriel. After one of his classes on defensive magics, he took me aside and began a series of rather uncomfortable questions about my other activities in Skyrim. He was to bring a group of young mages to the nearby Nordic ruins of Southal, and my abilities would be necessary in case there was trouble. I reluctantly agreed. Again, my curiosity got the better of me, but given my experience in recent months, I knew the ruins would probably be more than met the eye. I also found out that my journey to decipher Gallus's journal was to be complicated, a trip to Markarth, then sneaking through heavily guarded chambers. I was never the academic, and knew little of the Dwemer or Falmer, but knew their ruins were quite a bit more than undead guardians and Nordic puzzles. I continued tracking down Mercer Frey. He had a house in Riften, but took quite a bit of time and expertise to enter, including his hulk of a god. I had heard stories of the supposed Nightengales, agents of Nocturnal meant to keep the Thieves Guild in line, and in Nocturnal's favor. I don't know why I disbelieved that Nocturnal, like other Daedra, had avatars, agents, and champions. She had been one of my household gods, so to speak, since I was a young hunter in Vaelith. She had command over so many aspects of my work, that I admit being in awe of the Nightengales. I explained to why the Thieves Guild had fallen out of favor, what Mercer had truly done, and how we would set things right. The Nightengales only had one remaining agent, Kalia, and she told us that to restore the Thieves Guild and myself, and Brynjolf, were to restore the Trinity. I had already interacted with several Daedric princes, but Nocturnal was one of the few I truly respected and revered. My oath would require me to serve her in life, and in death, and I wondered how that would resolve it given the oaths I had taken to others. But the paramount issue was to restore the Thieves Guild, so I took the oath and bound myself to the Empress of the Murk. Our journey to take back the skeleton key sent us to the depths of Dwemer ruins, a small city, and both Brynjolf and Kalia, while they were master thieves and archers in their own right, I longed for solitude in my task. The hideous and devolved Thalmor, their chitinous pets, and a host of old Dwemer bobby traps and guardians. At first Mercer was always one step ahead. His vanity necessitated a trail of fresh kills, but his possession of the skeleton key allowed him an easy path. But soon we had him cornered, as he sought a new prize, but he was ready for us, and soon he was near to killing both of my fellow Nightingales. I chased him around that giant statue. He had potions of healing and potions to make him invisible, but eventually my arrows found their mark. But, it seems, the chamber would become our burial place as the water flooded in. Kalia almost seemed glad for it to be over, as we would be claimed by Nocturnal, even in death. But by fate or luck, both governed by Nocturnal, we found a way upward and outward to safety, the gifts of possessing the skeleton key, no doubt. But our debt was not yet fulfilled. I was to restore the key to its place in the Twilight Sepulchre, and that the path to it wouldn't be easy. Nevertheless, the entire way I felt lifted by my connection to Nocturnal, different from the Night Mother or Sithis, and different from Mersin. I reached the inner sanctum and restored the key to its place, and soon a form, or at least one of the forms, of Nocturnal appeared before us. alongside that of Gaullus, now a champion of nocturnal and death, and restored to his proper place. Alduin was both elated and sad to see her former teacher and lover, happy in the knowledge she was now restored and that it would be years, decades perhaps, before they were truly reunited. I was then reminded that I would now also lead the Thieves' Guild, both the Dark Brotherhood and the guilds united under a common leader, albeit with slightly different goals. I finally decided I had to address my destiny as Dragonborn, and that took me to Skyhaven Temple guarded by Forsworn and their magics. It was to no surprise that Delphine and Aspern were capable fighters. They had been among the elite of the Blades in their younger years. We stormed the temple as an army unto ourselves, and soon gazed upon the mosaic that foretold the defeat of Alduin, the World Eater. I simply found a long-abandoned bed, laid there in darkness, and thought of what was to come, and if Alduin would be my end, or my beginning.